Well, I am not Jen Randle, and if she hops on, we will let her just take charge and keep moving. But I am Joni Bruce, and I'm actually the executive director of Oklahoma Family Network. But I'm also a graduate of the Oklahoma Partners in Policymaking program, and which I'm very proud of. It's work, but it's very well worth it. And so what we're going to go through today is tell you a little bit about the DD Council and then a little bit about some of the programs that they have available. And I would really encourage you to get on their website, and Jen has their website all over these slides. So Megan or Terry, if someone can add their website to the chat, I think that would be great. All of the applications for their programs are on their website. So I think it will be real helpful if you have that. So the picture that you see before you is the DD Council. The DD Council is comprised of individuals with developmental disabilities, family members of people with developmental disabilities, and then people who support individuals who have developmental disabilities. And their mission is to advance communities where everyone has the opportunity to live, learn, work, and play where they choose. The council builds partnerships to change systems, to improve services, resources, and supports for Oklahomans with developmental disabilities and their families. And so they do have a number of programs that are really outstanding. And like Rhiannon said, they're nationally renowned. Partners in Policymaking is an 8-weekend disability advocacy training, and it includes parents. I'm a parent of kids who have special healthcare needs and disabilities. My class also had adults with developmental disabilities and professionals who serve individuals with developmental disabilities. And the goal is to promote independence, productivity, and inclusion of Oklahomans with disabilities. And I'll tell you, and you can see Brad Mays is the person that receives all the applications, and he actually coordinates the partners class now. And the way it works is, sorry, I'm easily distracted. The way it works is you turn in an application, and then there's a quick over the phone interview, and then a second more in-depth interview. And then for those who are chosen, we attend for 8 weekends, and usually it'll go from August, or like August, they usually do an orientation, and it'll go from September to May. And each month focuses on certain things. And so it's typically held on Friday night and then all day Saturday, or they bring you in on Friday night when they do it in person. Most lately, they've done these by Zoom. And I don't know if they plan to do it. They haven't decided yet if they're going to do it in person next year, or if they're going to continue and do it virtually. So it's once a month from August until May. And like I said, each month they bring in world-renowned speakers around developmental disabilities. And one of the things that I learned a lot about is just how all the systems in Oklahoma work to support people with disabilities. So if you don't know a lot about waivered services for people with developmental disabilities, you'll learn all about that. You'll learn about the structure of our government and how each agency impacts the health and well-being of all of our citizens, who the leaders are, how you can get in contact with them, a better understanding of all of the services that the different state agencies provide. There's also a mock session where you actually have a weekend, and usually they do it in January, where you actually go to the Capitol and you do a mock session where you talk to a group of legislators about why a certain piece of legislation from the prior year's legislative session, where you just talk about why you feel strongly about that legislation and why you would like them to pass it or not pass it. It just gives you a chance to practice talking to legislators and seeing, just how engaging they can be. And they really do want to hear from you. So by the time you finish partners, you know the structure of our government, how each agency supports people with disabilities, what resources are available, how to advocate not only for yourself or for your children or your family, but also for others in Oklahoma, who may have different types of disabilities. And then the Youth Leadership Forum is a 5-day advocacy and leadership camp that's held every June for students with disabilities. who are in the 10th, 11th, or 12th grade. And there are a number of activities. They go to all sorts of sessions. Again, just like partners, they bring in nationally renowned speakers from across the nation to come in and actually speak to the youth. And the youth go through a similar, the youth go through a similar process of going, just, talking to Brad, actually having a phone interview, and then maybe a more in-depth interview. The youth actually receive a mentor that will be there alongside them. So if they need any supports, they also have behavioral health aides and other types of personal care attendants that can make sure that the young adults have all of their needs met. The parents can feel very comfortable that their youth are safe. They do it at the USAO campus, University of Science and Arts of Oklahoma, in Chickasha, and the young adults just love it. And our network has the privilege oftentimes of actually helping to cover the cost of either a boat ride in Oklahoma City, because they come for a legislative day to the Capitol as well, or we might provide pizza, for one of their gatherings. So we typically also provide telling your story training for them, because we want them to feel confident on how to share their story and how much of their story to share, and that sort of thing. Another project they have is called the Consumer Involvement and Professional Development Fund. Heather Pike, who's our associate director, and I, the very first time that we had the privilege of going to a national conference, it was the Parent to Parent USA Conference, which is an organization nationally that supports parent-to-parent networks across the state. And Heather and I actually had the privilege of going that year. My gosh, we brought home a whole suitcase full of materials. We got to know other leaders across the states who became very lifelong friends. And the way this works is they'll pay for a portion of you going to a regional or a national or a state conference. So we have a little skin in the game. Heather and I paid for our own childcare for our children while we were away. We paid for our own food while we were away. They covered the cost of our airfare, and they covered the cost of attending the conference in the hotel. So that was a huge help, but something that we could not have done at that point because OFN was very small, and we just simply didn't have the funds to go to a national conference. So if you have a child with Down syndrome or Rett syndrome and you want to go to a national conference and you're willing to come back and share with the council and with other family leaders and others what you learn, this might be something that you'll want to consider. And you can see Alyssa's email address there if you'd like to get more information. And again, if you go on the DD Council's website, you can get more information there. And then they also have trainings on topics such as person-centered thinking skills, life course principles, disability etiquette, respectful communication and advocacy skills. Their staff are able to come and speak at your agency or school, or maybe where you work, if you'd just like for them to come and talk a little bit about supporting people who have disabilities or appropriate communication around people with disabilities. They're glad to do that. And then program funding. The DD Council partners with organizations to provide funding for new projects in Oklahoma. Previous projects have been the Oklahoma Transition Institute, early access autism screenings, SIP shops, sooner success activities, Tech Now, Dream Night, and they also actually have supported Oklahoma Family Networks joining forces in the past. And I think that Jen just joined us. Jen, I just sort of ran with it since I'm a partners grad. And if you want to start with the legislative bulletins, I can be quiet and just advance slides for you if you'd like.
Yeah, I am sorry for the delay. Zoom, I'm in a hotel at a meeting at the DDS meetings and the internet, and it's not working well for me, I guess.
It's okay.
But thank you for starting.
No
so
problem.
The legislative bulletins, I put this slide in there just to let you guys know that the council works with, and I'm not on video, there we go, works with the Oklahoma Disability Law Center, as well as the Center for Learning and Leadership, to put together a legislative bulletin. We try to do as much as we can throughout the legislative session. So we're gearing up for the season. And we just try to keep people posted and aware of different possible potential legislation so that you guys can advocate how you need to with your legislators. So it's really easy if you just go to that website. And I'm assuming I sent the PDF, so I'm hoping, and I can put them in chat as well. But you should just be able to click on that link and be able to get to where you need to. Hi, Chess. Any questions about that? How many of you guys actually, and you can use the reactions or you can unmute, how many of you guys talk to your legislators? I see. Now, that was kind of a trick question. I was hoping I would see Chass's hand raised. You're going to be awesome, I promise. There you go, Joni. Yeah, Terry. Awesome. Yeah. Wait a minute. And that's what I asked that question because as Jenny was going to the next slide, our Oklahoma Partners in Policymaking program, that's a program that if you're kind of like, I don't know if I want to do this or, oh, I don't know how, that's the class you need to go to. That's the class that you need to enroll in. So Oklahoma Partners in Policymaking is a 8-weekend disability advocacy training. It's designed, a lot of parents will take it. Our individuals, our adults with disabilities will take it, as well as professionals. My own experience, I was a special education teacher in 2000. When did I take partners? 2005. Well, I took 2004, 2005 because it's like October to May. One of the speakers, Chuck Roberts, some of you guys may know Chuck. He had come to my classroom with another man and did a 2-week job club with my students. And then we just kind of stayed connected, and I learned about Oklahoma People First, and then we started Students First, and Chuck was like, you need to take partners. I was like, I do? Okay. Wow. I am so thankful that Chuck got me and gave me the information, and I applied. I don't know where I'd be without it. I know Joni is a partners grad, Jerry is a partners grad, Chass, who's here, will soon be a partners grad. Yay! I say soon, in May, but we'll get there. We have speakers that you guys will hear from that maybe at conferences you might hear with like 500 other people. So they're big time speakers. But our partners class is only like 30 or so students. So what's really cool about that is that they are your partners. I know, I mean, even to this day, but I know especially when I taught, I'll email them. And you would think a national speaker, why are they going to email you back? No, they are your partners. They want to help. They are just as invested in helping change our system for everyone as we want our partners grads to be. So this is a picture of our last virtual partners class. As we all know, COVID sucks, right? But now we are back this year after that long hiatus. And this year we're 75% virtual. When we are trying to get things settled and all the logistics, our numbers weren't still great. And so we thought, well, we'll at least have virtual. We'll have 6 virtual, 2 in person. It's better than nothing. Next year, I don't know what it'll look like, if we'll be all in person, if we'll do hybrid, because I know some of our students have said, and some people have told us they have to do virtual, they can't do it. But we've also heard from the other side that they don't want to do virtual. So we're still trying to navigate this we're still all in the Zoom world as we are today. So I can't really tell you, exactly what that'll look like. This year, we're also changing our the days. It used to be Saturday, Sunday. This year is a Friday night, Saturday. So a little different, but I think it's still great. Yeah, see, there's another comment, would love virtual. So, maybe, we'll just have to figure that out. And maybe it is kind of a hybrid situation now, I think that's something that I know I learned during COVID is that just got to think differently. How can we still do it, and maybe be able to reach out to other people? On my next slide, it's just some pictures of the different some of the different activities. If you want to draw some of our partner grads, um, and 3 of the pictures are during one of the, I think one of the neatest parts. And I know, there's people, I'll never forget, I was panicked. And that's our legislative testimony. We will teach you guys how to read bills, and kind of start understanding, okay, this is what the bill might do. And how do you make an ask out of your legislators? And then we're going to practice that in time with legislators. So we'll teach you, you'll have a small group and you'll develop your ask. And during one day, you guys will do that in front of them and they'll get to ask you questions. I'll never forget my experience. So we went to the room, we're eating lunch. Well, some of us were eating lunch. They gave me a sandwich. It was like an hour before. And they're like, here's your lunch. I was like, oh, no, unless you want me to be sick on the legislators. No, just take that sandwich right away. So then our group gave our testimony 7 minutes after, because it was about 7 minutes. That was it. I was like, wait, that's all there is to it? I don't know Joni's experience, and Joni, if you want to, or Jerry's, but I was just like, okay, let's rewind. Let me do this again, because it wasn't that bad. I'm not saying I'm perfect yet. I still have to practice. But now I know
the anticipation of it is far worse. I think we had a low attendance. We did it in January, and I was in the 2010-11 class. And I think we had a lot of people that didn't show up because they were so afraid. But really, they're just our neighbors and should be our friends. And we should be meeting them for coffee even before the session starts. So, and that's one of the things that partners taught me.
Yeah. Jerry, I saw you come on. Did you want to say something? Oh, you're on mute. Unmute.
Okay. Well, I don't know how well you're going to be able to hear me anyway. I was in earlier class, thinking I was 2003, 2004. And yeah, I tell the FSPs that I train all the time what a wonderful program Partners in Policymaking is, not only learning all that information, but the network that we have that we continue and can be able to connect with.
Yeah. And that's one of the coolest things is you're in class with so many cool people. The networking, I think that's one of the things I don't like about virtual is that I'm scared that the students now won't connect. So hopefully they are, but we'll figure it out. It's learning.
Jen,
use the library.
Jen,
and so we just did
I was just going to say, you may need to turn off your camera because your Wi-Fi is really, I mean, I hate for you to do that, but go ahead and talk and let's see if it'll work now. There we go.
Hang on real quick. I think I walked too far. I was using my phone as a hotspot, and I think I went too far. So I'm trying to get my coworker to bring it. So hopefully that helped for a while. Are you able to hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay. So the middle picture are just 3 graduates that we asked to speak to librarians that we were talking to about how to support our families. So Diana McCalman has been a staple of the program for many years, and we now have the Diana Award given to an outstanding partner student or graduate. And this was the last that we've done. Cody Tony had gotten that the last year. So, and I just realized my next slide is the video. So let me grab, because I should have just sent the PowerPoint. I don't know what I was thinking. Because I embedded it into it. Oh, internet. Hopefully my internet will get better now because my phone is close to me. Actually, can I still the show? Oh, yep, you've already done that. Share screen. I'm not right on the video yet because I want to, if you guys don't mind, just because I want to make sure it's still kind of new. So I wanted to show, so this is our website. You won't see this top part where it has dashboard, that stuff. But at the very top, if you see this option right here, accessibility and language options, what's really neat about that is the council has this neat toolbar. If you click on it, and now you should see a new toolbar. Hopefully you see that up here. And one of the coolest parts is that you can change the language to over 150. I mean, there are a ton of languages, including Spanish. And what's neat about this is that if you open one of our publications in your browser and you have changed the language, it will convert that brochure into that language, but it has to be opened up in your browser. So please be sure to check that out and spread the word. It's really kind of neat. And then these are just our different videos and things. So I'm going to go here. We'll blow that up. Thought you could. That's not what I wanted, is it? Maybe it'll give me an option to make it bigger in a minute.
A lot of times with individuals that have an intellectual or
We'll just do it here. There we go.
a lot of times with individuals that have an intellectual or developmental disability is we continue to create these paths of their life that are segregating and isolating. And I wanted to be a part of something different.
Soccer ball, about that big. Hold your arms around like a soccer ball. Yeah, I think it's about that big.
I started out as an advocate, and I went from there and took Partners in Policymaking, and then went from Partners in Policymaking into this very vision. We volunteer at pretty much anywhere that I feel like we can interact with and engage with the public that might give them some kind of new training or new skill that we can build into their lives, but more importantly, so that they get to share their gifts and their talents to help other people and to know that they're capable of helping other people, because most of what their lives have always looked like is somebody helping them. Anybody that's looking to become a better advocate, Partners, you have to take Partners in Policymaking.
And then she was like, Partners, you have to do Partners.
Partners in Policymaking is a 9-month disability advocacy and leadership academy. It's offered in several states, several nations. I mean, it really creates an intentional learning space for parents, self-advocates, and allied professionals to consider how we think about disability, our policies, our practices, our mindsets that we have about this. It's not so much about improving or changing a person with a developmental disability, but considering whether our supports really respect the independence and dignity of those individuals.
So I came to Partners with the perspective of, what can I soak up that is going to make the world a better place for my kid? And I left very different. I left with the idea that it is not about my kid. She's gonna have her challenges, but this is not about my kid. This is about a group of people who are forgotten.
If you give people self-worth, then, you know, look what can happen. Don't judge us by the cover of the book.
That's right.
Don't put us
Read
in a
the
box.
story.
Nothing about us without us.
I think we tend to think of disability rights as special rights for people who have limitations. We think about the Americans with Disabilities Act. But disability rights are just a manifestation of our civil rights, and at a global level, our human rights. I really feel we've kind of hit a tipping point here in Oklahoma where we're speaking about people with disabilities differently, where we're considering how our laws and policies impact that. These are 66,000 Oklahomans. We're not talking about a rarity. Disability is actually the largest minority group in the United States. So we have to help parents help their kids plan for that. There was this moment in Partners, and when I wasn't that far in, where I realized that I was part of my kid's disability. I was the one introducing him to the world by his limitations. He can't do that because he has a brain injury. Sorry, he skips a lot. He has a brain injury. I was really diagnosing my child with a bad reputation. And if I want him to be a valued, included adult in community, then I can't go around labeling him like that all the time. I can't keep pointing out how he's special and different, because then people will eventually believe me.
You begin fixing your lunch and you finish fixing it, okay? My son, Jeremy, who is now 15, was diagnosed at the age of 3 with autism. We didn't know what autism was, I and my husband, and he also has a big sister. And so we had to do a lot of research. Getting that diagnosis is kind of feeling in a despair. Our family began to kind of live a lonely journey. Are you getting some strawberries? Strawberries. Get some strawberries out. When I filled the application for Partners and they accepted me, I didn't know what to expect. But I quickly, on the first month, I quickly started to realize this was more. I was gathering all this information in 1 month, the one weekend. It was turning into information, went to inspiration. Every month I remember coming home and telling my husband and telling my friends and telling my colleagues that every month I feel butterflies and anticipation and hope in my heart every month of what to expect and what to learn, and realizing that every month it was changing my life. When I went to Partners, I think my son was maybe 6 and now he's getting ready to be 16. So, I mean, wow, they've been a big part of his journey, whether they know it or not.
Well, it looks like Jen's signal may have cut out on us. We will just give her a minute to see if she's going to come back. I'm sorry for all the technical issues. Just give us just a second, you guys. I'm sorry. I apologize.
Oh, gotta love internet.
There she is.
So it's a great video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. I was gonna ask Joni, do you want me to just show my PowerPoint now, or do you think it's easier for I've got it. Let's
You can go
see.
ahead and do it. I just made you co-host, Jen, so you should
Okay.
have screen sharing capabilities.
Oh, whoops. Try again. It's not. Well, it says it disabled it, but it's not letting me do it. Help.
Give me just a second. I am looking again. Oh, it didn't. There it goes. Sorry, I didn't click it all the way.
There we go. Sure sound. I got one more video. So that any questions in chat or anything, because I know when I dropped, I won't be able to see those questions.
I'll let you know if there's any questions, Jen.
Okay. And what the heck? Oh, that's right. Okay. Minimize the pictures. I can see. Okay, so that is Partners in Policymaking, which is for our adults. The council also runs, has a youth leadership forum, which is for our high school students with disabilities. And this is what I've done for years for the council, is to coordinate it. And I can talk for all day, so definitely cut me off when people are like, I gotta go eat. It's amazing. So why we call it OKYLF or YLF, like Partners, it's a national program. We don't have as many programs around the states as Partners. It's not, a lot of states, their programs for YLF aren't fully funded. Our council, again, like Partners, fully invests in raising the capacity of our advocates. We need our adults as well as our young people to know, how to advocate, because it's going to take all of us. And so our YLF is it's a 5-day advocacy camp for our high school students, 10th, 11th, and 12th grade with disabilities. Any disability. It can be a physical disability. It can be a mental health disability. It can be a learning disability. It can be an intellectual or cognitive disability, other health impaired. I mean, anything. We actually go with California originally started YLF in 1992, and they used the Americans with Disabilities Act definition of disability. So that opens it up quite a bit. So we stay with California's model and use that definition for looking at acceptance of our students. We also have recently opened it up for a small amount of students, same grades, but without a disability. Thinking, just trying to be more inclusive, but in the thoughts of, if we're going to change systems, it's going to take us all. So we want to educate not just our young people with disabilities, but we want to educate our young people without disabilities. And so this is last year's class. YLF did do virtual the last 2 years. Thankful to be back in person. It works virtually, but there's some things that we can't do virtually. For example, we stay right on a college campus for those 5 days. That teaches a lot of independence. For some of our students, some of our parents, that's the first time away from each other. And so just that learning experience, having a roommate that they've never met. I don't know about you guys, but when I went to college, it would have been nice to have that experience. I've always had my own room. Now you're going to throw me in a room expecting to share? What? So it's just, that's a whole different learning environment. They also have to, now they have to get up. Now they have to, I've got to get up because breakfast is at this time, and things like this. So it's a lot of independent living skills, and they're doing it. We bring in, just like Partners, we will bring in national speakers also with disabilities, because we believe in leadership by example. So we bring in these national speakers. We also hire our alumni, so our graduates, to come back and help work. So we have certified teachers, we have nurses, as well as our alumni. And I would venture to say, probably one of the best part about our staff is our alumni. They help us, and they help us stay on course. remembering it's for them and to help them figure out what they want in life. If I can get my slides to go, there we go. So these are just some pictures from, I think, yeah, they're all from last year. Oh, I went too far. All from last year, some of our activities. We do a lot of team building games so that they really experience that collaborative learning, having to figure out how, if I have an idea, how can I make my idea known? They have to do problem solving skills. One of my favorite activities is the one where the young man is on the left giving the peace sign. And then in the middle, you'll see one guy on the floor and then the other guy standing. That was his choice, I promise. But they had to problem solve, essentially how to get, the whole group had to get from point A to point B, and they had to stand on the things that they're standing on or that they're holding. What makes it hard is that there are chocolate monsters, because this is Chocolate River. There are chocolate monsters that will steal the things that they are standing on if they forget to stand on it. And so they have to kind of figure out, how are we going to do this? How are we going to get everybody across? Some of the pictures, there's two young ladies at the Capitol, like partners, and we teach how to do legislative testimony. We want our young people to know their legislators. And what does it look like when they debate? So they do a mock legislative debate in the House chamber. And these are just one picture, one young lady having supports from one of our teachers. And then again, I mentioned our alumni is a key member of our staff. And these young people in gray shirts in the bottom right are our staff members that are all YLF graduates. And they come back because they know the value of what they've been through. And so it's really cool. Oh, what's that? That's not what I wanted to do. Why are you not? Okay, fine. Hang on, let me go back to my browser. I don't know why it's not wanting to show through my PowerPoint. And we'll just do it this way. So there we go. I think this one's, yeah, it's only a little over 4 minutes.
YLF, Oklahoma's Youth Leadership Forum, is the opportunity of a lifetime for high school juniors and seniors with disabilities. If you are selected to go to YLF, you'll experience a week on a college campus. Hear from speakers like yourself who are YLF graduates and who live well-rounded and vitally productive lives. Spend a full day at the state capitol, meeting with leaders and taking part in a mock debate of the legislature. And you'll make new friends and become part of a nationwide family of YLF graduates. So don't miss out. YLF will change your life. YLF is a great opportunity for students in Oklahoma with disabilities to get the skills and the tools they need to become a leader in their communities and their schools.
YLF is a great place to go and good place to learn, and then you get to meet also all these interesting people. After that, you'll just be a great leader, or you'll have other choices. You'll just have a great experience.
The best part of YLF is probably seeing kids come in at the beginning of the week being really shy and unsure of themselves, and then when they leave on Saturday, they're like a whole new confident person. So that's really neat to see.
You, as an individual, grow and you learn more about your disability and how you can help others with disabilities.
To know that I wasn't the only kid that was dyslexic, that there are other ones out there. Maybe I could share something about that later on in life.
I decided to attend because I hope to gain leadership skills, self-advocacy, just make new friends and kind of know what's happening with disability movements and stuff like that.
When you go to YLF, you'll make lots of new friends. You'll become part of a national network of YLF grads, all eager to help you succeed. You can count on them to answer questions and be there for you as you reach your educational and career goals.
The people here are amazing. They're very supportive. I mean, they will help you with anything, and it doesn't just end with YLF. It lasts years and years, and they're always ready to help. They're just amazing.
Knowing there's a huge family that supports you in any decision you make, that they're always going to be there to push you a little step further than what you think you can go, that you're always going to have that lifelong friendship with everyone here.
YLF presents an amazing opportunity for youth with disabilities.
I think you should go. I think it would really benefit you, and it would make you see things that you would never even imagine of thinking of, you know? It's just, it'll really change your whole perspective on things.
YLF is funded by the Oklahoma Developmental Disabilities Council, so it's totally free. The council also takes care of any support you may need for an awesome week. Sound like fun? Here's what you need to do. First, go to our website at okddc.ok.gov. Click on Youth Leadership Forum for more information about YLF and how to apply. If the phone works better for you than the internet, just call us at 405-521-4984. If you're outside Oklahoma City, you can call for free at 1-800-836-4470.
I would say you have to go. It's a great experience.
So that's our Youth Leadership Forum. It really, it's amazing within those 5 days, the change that you see in the students. I kind of joke, but it's true, with parents on the first day, as they're about to leave, I always tell them to take a good look at their child because they won't see the same child on the closing day. The growth, the confidence that they have within those 5 days, really, like right now, I'm getting goosebumps. It's really cool. And it works because of the model. Everybody's important, everybody's valued. So definitely check it out. Are there any questions coming to mind?
Hey, Jen, one thing that I would ask, if there's any way that maybe you could send that video, because we weren't able to watch the video. There was
You
a
didn't
little
see it?
delay. No, it's just kind of a
Okay.
black box, but maybe we can share it so that they could see that.
Nuts.
Because,
I'm
yeah,
sorry.
no worries. We understand technology.
Shoot. Oh, doggone it. Yeah, that's probably what partners do. You probably didn't see that one either. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to waste y'all's time. Darn it. So I think I put this slide at the first two, just because I guess I just want to make sure you get it. I always like it. But the partners in policymaking, on the slides, I just put Bradley Mays, or Brad, is our coordinator for both partners and YLF. And if you hear me say partners or PIP, it's the same thing. I guess sometimes it takes a while to say partners in policymaking, or YLF. But he can help. I can help answer any questions. Much like the video said, we don't want, for both programs, we don't want cost to be a barrier. So if our class is in the city and you need help with childcare reimbursement, we're kind of working on that right now because of people moving on and things and having to figure out new processes, but that can be done. We can help with travel reimbursement. We can help with, for partners, a hotel room, because if you are driving from, I don't know, Guyman, and then you have to go back to Guyman to stay the night and then back, you're not going to be able to really get everything you can from the speakers because you're going to be wanting to sleep, or you are asleep, which I don't blame you. It's a long trip, right? Same thing with YLF. If we need, we have our nursing supports. So please don't think, my thing with YLF, I think every student should have it. We've had all sorts of students with different disabilities go through YLF. And so please don't think that maybe, well, I don't know. We might just have to figure it out. Or, I'm willing to try anything. I had a young man come down because mom wasn't quite sure. So he spent the afternoon with us on a couple afternoons. Willing to try anything just to help them kind of get engaged and learn. If you want to take, starting into their sophomore years when they start applying. Well, freshman year, why don't you come down and that summer and do a college visit? High school students do college visits. So what better opportunity but to give your student the student an experience like everyone else. They get to visit a college, come see us, see the dorms that they stay in, meet some of the people, and see some of the activities. Definitely welcome you to do that. Just let us know. And then our consumer involvement or professional development fund, the council, again, we want to help people get that information we need, fill up those buckets for discovery and navigation. And with this, you can, whether you're a parent or an adult with a person with a disability or a professional, and there's a conference out there that you would like to go to, but sometimes it's hard to get all the money. The council might be able to help pay. And I say help, we can't do the whole thing, but we might be able to pay for your registration. We might be able to help you with your hotel, maybe travel reimbursement. We might be able to do per diem, so hopefully those things will help you go, oh, wait, I've never gotten to go to that conference. Now I can apply for help. The council asked for a little bit of things after. I mean, we want to have the materials that you get, so just copies, because we want to learn. We may ask you to do a presentation to our council, not very long, 5-10 minutes, just so we understand what you went to. And then also you write letters to your legislators so that your legislators know there's an expert in that field in our state. We do all sorts of customized trainings, such as this one. We can do person-centered thinking, charting the life course. We've got our family employment awareness training, all sorts of sorts of trainings that we'd love to be able to deliver to you, to groups. So let us know. And then program funding. Our council is all about systems change. And to do that, we can't do it alone. We have to have partners. And so we look at working with other groups to help us achieve our state plan. We might come up with an idea, for example, with we knew that respite is a huge deal for our families. So we had some ideas of what we wanted something to look like. And we reached out to Center Success to see if they could be interested and if they could even do something like that. They in turn gave us a proposal. Our council we discussed it, and now we fund respites around the state. We're all about looking at what we can do to help our families and individuals. One note, when you see Dream Night at the zoo, if you don't know about Dream Night at the zoo, definitely one of my favorite nights of the year. Usually it's the first Friday night in June. And I say that usually the last 2 years, the Oklahoma City Zoo has moved it to September. They've had some other events in June, and I wanted to make sure they could have time and get all the things that they needed. So it could be in September again, I'm not sure. But it is a free night for our families who have a child with a disability or special healthcare need. And so it's just a night for you guys, for families to enjoy the zoo, and not have to worry about if something upsets your child and is having, some problems, and maybe, that term meltdown. No one, we all get it. You're not, we just work together to figure out what we can do to make it better. The zoo does admissions. They provide a meal while you're there. All the rides are free. You can get a picture for free. One of my best parts that I like doing at the end when people are leaving, there's usually like a stuffed animal or something at the end. So it really, if you've not heard of it, definitely email us at the council, and we can add you to our mailing list for Dream Night. Once we have some cards from the zoo, then we will send the card out to you guys, and that will have all the directions of how to RSVP. But please check it out, because it really is the best thing. And if you want to volunteer, call the zoo.
So Jen, we did have a question regarding the cost for attending Partners in Policymaking and YLF. Jen, are you there? She may be having some connection difficulties. I guess maybe from the partners, if you're there, Jerry, Joni, I know she kind of named a few. Are you familiar if there's a cost for attending Partners in Policymaking or YLF?
No, it's an investment of your personal and professional time. So there is not a cost other than your time.
Wonderful.
Which is
Thank you.
very, very, the whole thing is very valuable.
Yeah, wonderful.